Webb Wright, and I'd like to welcome you to Lucas Group's Recruiter Intel Spotlight series. Today, I'm joined by Brittany Smith. Thanks so much for joining us today, Brittany.
Of course, Webb. Thank you so much for inviting me. This is wonderful.
And I would like to start off by asking about some of the most significant roadblocks to hiring and recruitment that you've witnessed personally with clients in 2020.
Of course, absolutely. So one of the biggest roadblocks that we've seen so far is kind of navigating this new virtual process, right? So how do you navigate the process? How do you work with a limited number of employees on the floor, keep them engaged, keep them excited about coming in the office, right? Because they're critical. It's really proven difficult for some organizations to stay dedicated to those critical fills when they're working on the day-to-day tactical. So getting people out of the weeds, we've seen roles go on hold because of some of these reasons. Keeping employees safe is obviously number one. So how do you continue to get out of the tactical day-to-day, run the organization in a positive way? Some of these organizations are operating at 120% of capacity due to huge upticks in business. And how do you adapt and collaborate on both? So we've seen a lot of really great success stories kind of come out of this. But the incidents in which we've seen failures has really been, getting outside of the temperature checks, of filling in the lines, of going onto the plant floor. There are absolutely VPs out there that are working through excellent leadership, but filling in more of those tactical day-to-days as opposed to filling the positions that are alleviating some of the pain, right? So how do you get a production manager in there quickly? And it's really going to be about adapting, right? There's a new way of hiring. There's a new way of looking at this process from end to end and collaborating on so many different levels. So collaborating with HR, collaborating with operations, collaborating with your floor team to make all this work. So we've really seen some things kind of fall apart there. But we've pulled a lot of really great success stories there as well, which kind of gives us an edge in speaking to our clients.
Mm-hmm. And you referenced a moment ago a few of the emergent best practices that have begun to manifest themselves in terms of hiring and recruitment during the pandemic. And all of those collectively form what we might call the new normal for hiring and recruitment in a mid and post-pandemic business landscape. So I'm wondering if you can tell us a bit more about a specific time in 2020 in which you witnessed a client successfully or seamlessly adapt to that new normal. And specifically, I'm wondering about which strategies they employed to help them devise successful hiring and recruitment strategies in the current climate.
Of course. So I'm actually going to draw down to two. I'll keep them brief, but draw down to two. One of the clients that we most recently worked with was a really interesting process, right? They leaned really heavily on us to collaborate with them, to be consultative, which is one of the best things that we can do. We got through this process in hiring a plant manager from start to finish, fully virtual. The beginning of COVID, couldn't get people on the floor, couldn't get people in there. It was really risky with some of the restrictions and travel restrictions. He was actually on the other side of a state, so getting him flying in. We decided to test out this virtual process, right? How do we go from start to finish? And the most interesting thing that they did was a virtual plant tour. And the cool thing about it is when we started talking about what does a virtual plant tour look like, we had the engineering manager go out and break it down into silos. So each cellular manufacturing block that they were working with in that facility, from in the door to out the door, flow through the plant, engaging employees. He was videoing all of this. At the end of that, they sent it to the candidate. It gave him the ability to dive deeper into each section that he was seeing, talk through some of the process improvements that he could kind of spot right off the bat, right? Was there something on the floor that was missing? Was there a safety issue? Was there a flow issue? He was able to kind of take all of that, internalize it, digest it, and have a more robust, in-depth conversation with the hiring managers once they circle back on that plant tour, which was really innovative. We were kind of in the beginning of this, and hiring a plant tour site or a plant manager, sight unseen, is kind of unheard of. So it was really successful. They did a great job. We got through the process. He was successfully hired. He's still there. Great. And doing great, by the way. He, just called me the other day, and he was super happy about the whole process and how we went about everything. So it was a really good success story. The other one that we've really seen is remote back office functions. How do we pull those out of the normal processes and make those more remote? And one of the things that allows us to do from a hiring standpoint and from a collaboration standpoint is we're able to open up that talent market. So we recently placed CPO. He's in one state, the company's in another. They have multiple sites. Mm-hmm. The cool thing there is, again, 100% virtual process. He's been traveling to facilities recently, but he hadn't been at any of the facilities through any of this. Allowing for someone to sit remotely who is in a procurement function or a planning function, a supply chain function, opens up the market, the talent market. So you're not just limited to candidates in Cincinnati. You're not just limited to candidates in Atlanta, New York. You can take someone who's sitting and fitting the profile perfectly for exactly what you want. This guy had to do large scale transformations, had to put together a procurement function that was non-existent across business units in a specific industry. Finding somebody with that niche experience was going to prove difficult if we were targeting one area, and relocation through COVID. We haven't been as apt to relocate our families and travel with this pandemic. So allowing him to sit remotely really opened up the talent pool nationwide. We were kind of focusing a little bit more East Coast, but just really allowing for all the talent that's out there sitting remotely that can really impact your organization on a day-to-day and be the right fit as opposed to the right location. So there's a couple big success stories in that as well.
Sure. And where would you say the role of a professional recruiter such as yourself fits into that entire equation?
Of course.
How would you express in, a brief elevator pitch how your expertise can actually directly help to facilitate the process of hiring and recruitment for employers that are struggling to adapt to the new normal?
Of course. So a lot of the clients that we're talking to are losing sight of what's going on in the market, right? We hear in the news that there's a lot of unemployment. We hear in the news that there's a lot of downturn. So I think that for some means, hey, let's bring somebody on, get them for a better price. Maybe not necessarily. So one of the ways that we're really partnering and collaborating through this, and we're talking to executives every day. We're talking about best practices. We're talking about collaboration. We're talking about needs. We're talking about needs of the talent that's out there, because the A players are typically not ones that have been let go in a downturn. Those are the people that are really being valued in an organization. Those are the people that are getting retention bonuses. So that's one of the things that we can kind of help our clients understand a little bit better. So when we start looking at risk as well, so partnering with a recruiter and talking about counteroffers and talking about market insights and process improvements and hiring and getting creative, that's where we're really able to add value, not only to the process, but to the client and to the candidate, and together kind of partnering everything. The cool thing that we've seen through this COVID landscape is with the new challenges in retaining candidates, is that clients need to be a little bit more open to looking at, hey, this person's gainfully employed. This person may need a little bit of additional push. They might need a better title. They might need a little bit more compensation if you're really going to pull that A talent away from where they're being retained already. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that a recruiter can do in this environment is we can help with process. We can help with flow. We can help you understand the market. It's really tricky right now. Mm-hmm. And then we can help combat those counteroffers. Those are one of the biggest things that we continue to work through. Those are one of the key insights that we can provide, are the background, the counteroffers, the family insights, some of the things that we're able to open up with our candidates and building that rapport is the family situations, is the move situation, and really being able to relay that in a very positive way, in a collaborative way, and a consultative way, to our clients.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm really struck by the impression that professional recruiters, especially in this radically transforming landscape, really have an intimate understanding of the challenges that employers face, and in that sense can provide a comprehensive framework for how to move forward confidently, as well as how to avoid some of the most common pitfalls that employers tend to fall into.
100%. And the cool thing about Lucas Group is we work, obviously in supply chain operations, we work with the hiring managers every day. So we're working with the people that we're placing and replacing the people that we're working with, because we're working with VPs and plant managers. And we're really getting a really good, even if it's on the client side, we're getting a good understanding of where they are from a hiring standpoint and the challenges that they're facing, and we're able to really help build that bigger picture. We're able to connect the dots for the next client and the next candidate and kind of roll those along. And where people are getting a little bit more innovative, we're able to draw down on those and we're able to apply it to the next process, or we're able to provide insight on ways they can get creative. That's one of the great things about the recruiters here at Lucas Group is we really have a good understanding of how we get creative, how we get innovative in this market, and how we really keep things moving in the process, improving every single step and every single client.
Well, I think if there's anything that 2020 has unequivocally shown us, it's that the challenges that it's going to continue to present to employers across the country and across industries are not going to be slowing down anytime soon. So I think,
unfortunately, not.
On behalf of almost everyone out there, when I say that we're fortunate to have you looking out for everybody and all of the other recruiters over at Lucas Group, we're very grateful and hope that as we continue to meet these challenges, that we can continue to collaborate with recruiters productively and effectively. So you've been extremely generous with your time, Brittany, and to all the viewers out there who are curious to get in touch with Brittany, that information will be provided at the end of this video. I'm Webb Wright, and thank you all so much for joining this Recruiter Intel Spotlight interview. And thank you so much, Brittany.
Of course, Webb. Thank you so much.